Hello and welcome to the Rockies Now podcast. We are a Colorado Rockies podcast, and we are also a podcast that wears Chris Bryant City Connect jerseys on the day we're doing Rockies or slash MLB predictions for the 2026 season. Good to see you guys as always. Tom, starting off with you, how are you doing today?
Just wonderful. We're exactly 2 weeks away from opening night
And it's like Giants and Yankees, right? That's what you, yeah,
on
yeah, Giants and
Netflix.
Yankees, yeah, Netflix. I don't have Netflix. I'll just have to watch it with a friend or something,
Mm.
because I think he has Netflix. But anyways, Sarah, how are you?
Uh, Doing pretty good. I'm super excited. The closer we get, the more I'm just like, yes, it's almost
Baseball's
here.
on, yeah. Spring training, I think we only have I think there's those few spring training games against the Tigers in I think Florida, because the Rockies have to travel to Miami for opening day, and then yeah, I mean baseball is right around the corner. Rockies got a win today, 13-2 against Arizona. So I don't want to get my
Okay,
hopes
good.
up too high, but hey, always a good day to beat the Snakes. Ew. And then TJ Rumfield, what a spring he's having. He had another like 3-hit day today. So, wow. So yeah, good vibes going on at Rockies camp. But yeah, we have some predictions to share with you guys. Whether if you're watching on our YouTube or X page, shout out to you guys, or if you're listening on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. So we're going to start off here with the American League Central, probably one of the more weaker divisions in baseball, but it's a division that can jockey a little bit. There might be some teams moving up and down, and of course there are going to be some rising teams this year, like the White Sox, Tom's White Sox. So we're going to actually start it off with Sarah here with the American League Central here, and I don't know how do we want to do this, guys? Do we want to do 5-1, or do we want to do 1-5, like ranking in terms of the division here? I'm thinking 5-1.
That sounds good to me.
All right, Sarah, you started us off.
All right, I'm gonna get some serious hate over this one from some friends of mine, but
Uh-oh.
I actually kind of feel like the Twins are gonna tank it this year and be in last place.
Ooh.
I think the White Sox have done enough that they could take fourth. I'm saying the Royals are going to sit in third, and I think it's going to be back again between the Guardians and the Tigers. Um, I'm picking the Guardians to take it again. It's probably going to
Ooh.
be pretty close, like it was last year, but I think the Guardians are going to get the division.
I like it. Tom, what are your AL Central predictions?
Well, with the Twins, and the matter of fact, they've shed payroll. There's a lot of ownership questions right there. There's a lot of, even with the new manager of Derek Shelton, there's no stank left of Marco Baldelli. They are going to finish last. Quite possibly, they're going to be pushing 100 losses. So they're just in so much disarray with, as I said, from ownership to the front office and on the field. So that's going to affect the White Sox. Yes, they did do enough to the point where they added to whether it's veterans or exciting young new players. This young core is going to take another step forward. They are going to, I think, solidly secure fourth place in the division. And you know what? Again, pay attention to White Sox now. I'll give my official record prediction in the coming days. The Guardians, they surprise me every year, whether because they just know how to churn and develop pitchers. They probably have some arms that we just don't know about that they haven't debuted yet. We'll have to wait and see. I just don't, with as low a payroll as they have, maybe they'll prove me wrong. I see them securing third in the division. I think even though I'm going to see a little bit more of a production decline from Salvador Perez, Bobby Witt Jr., I think, is going to lead this team to a second place finish. And the Tigers, given adding Valdez, is the last year they'll have Skubal. Verlander is going to be the fifth guy, and they have a good, solid young lineup with Torkelson, Green, etc. And again, Javi Baez is not the Javi Baez of 2018, 2019, but he's still a formidable guy. I think this Tigers team is going to win the AL Central in 2026.
Yeah. Moving on to my central prediction. So I'm gonna actually. This was so hard to do because I'm like, okay, the Twins. I mean, they didn't do a whole lot. I mean, they got Josh Bell, who was a Rockies target. They got Victor Caratini, Taylor Rogers, Liam Hendricks, former White Sox, Tom. And then you had Andrew Chafin, who gotta love the stash and the personality of Andrew Chafin. And then former Rocky Orlando Arcia. And then Gio Urshela, but really not a lot of that moves the needle here. And obviously there are massive health concerns with the Twins. Obviously Royce Lewis is injured every single time we see him on TV. Feel bad for the guy. Byron Buxton, you hope he's okay. He got hit by a pitch, I think, in the hand. here just recently in the WBC. But shoot, who am I going to go with? I'm sorry, Tom. I'm going to have to put the White Sox in 5th place. I just feel like they still need another year. I feel like their prospects are almost right there. Like Kyle Teal, obviously, I love him. He's been doing great. Obviously, WBC this year. I feel like they need another year. It's going to be close. It's going to be like 1 or 2 game difference. And I actually think that the White Sox will avoid 100 losses this year. I actually think that the Central Division could be a little bit more competitive, but generally in years past, it's not so competitive. This year might be a little bit different. So yeah, White Sox in 5th, Twins in 4th. Coming in 3rd place, I'm going to go with the Kansas City Royals. They're a wild card contending team, I think. Obviously, not a lot of action really. I mean, their biggest name that they got this offseason was Matt Straw, maybe Lane Thomas as well. They also got former Rocky Nick Mears. So probably put the Royals at 3rd, and then coming at 2, I'm going to go with Cleveland here. No, I'm very disappointed in their offseason. They didn't really do anything. The only acquisition that they got was Sean Armstrong, I think, and maybe one other guy. But very disappointed in Cleveland that they just couldn't do more around Jose Ramirez. I mean, they extended him this year. But we'll see. Cleveland, they always do well in the playoffs, I feel like, but can they do it enough? Do they have the offense? We'll see. And then, of course, I'm going to pick the Tigers here. I'm going to drink the Tigers Kool-Aid like I've done the last 2 years. I've gotten flamed on Twitter for it. But on Instagram, you guys, I know Detroit Tigers Now, shout out to you. I know a lot of Tigers out there were giving me some credit for that. So that's for you guys. So I'm going to pick the Tigers for 1st place in the Central Division. All right, moving on to the East Division, the AL East. All right, Sarah, back to you.
Oh, this one is tough. This is so tough. Really, I don't know. This one's so much harder. But the Red Sox really haven't done anything. It's such a toss-up in last. And I'm going to catch some hate from my Red Sox fans too, but I'm going to say probably I'm going to go ahead and put Tampa Bay in 5th and the Red Sox in 4th.
Okay.
So I'm going to give them a little bit of credit. Yeah. Now, the Yankees also really didn't do much of anything.
Yeah, they pretty much brought everyone back.
Yeah, they're running it back. And, I mean, it got them to the postseason last year, but it didn't get them very far. I really think that Baltimore did enough that the Yankees are going to take 3rd. Baltimore is going to take 2nd. And I feel like Toronto, even without Bo Bichette, is going to take that division again. A lot of that is going to depend on the health of guys like George Springer, but I feel like a healthy George Springer, healthy season for a lot of those guys, they've got it in the bag.
Yeah. Yeah, Tom, what about you?
Well, even though, again, like I said, just like the Guardians, the Rays are a pitching production factory in their minor league system or taking shots on guys who are cast-offs. I don't think Junior Caminaro is enough to carry that lineup. I don't think Simpson has truly reached his full potential, but he could this year. So, again, it's going to be interesting to see what the new ownership plans are in the coming years with the new ballpark and how they plan to change operations around. But I still have the Rays finishing 5th in this division. The Orioles, Pete Alonso, nice addition. They did offload some pitching. They did also make some adjustments in a few areas. I think adding a veteran like him is going to provide a boost to the offense, but with the injury, what's Jackson Holliday's future going to be? How many games is he going to play this year? What are we going to expect from him? That's a big question mark. Gunnar Henderson, of course, I believe will have a rebound year, but overall, I think it's going to land the Orioles in 4th position with the AL East. Yankees, they had an interesting offseason. You bring back the legacy guy in Cody Bellinger. You do lose a couple guys in Devin Williams, and I heard rumor they did make a play for Edwin Diaz, whether that's true or not. I think the Yankees are going to land in third, and I'm more higher on the Red Sox than a lot of people are. I do think the addition of Sonny Gray is going to help Garrett Crochet out a little bit. Or also adding Valdez as well is going to be critical as well. So they have a top 3 in the rotation. Oh wait, did I get that wrong? Yeah, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, if I got that wrong, I'm sorry. So their top 3 in the rotation is going to be good. So I think the Red Sox will land second. Again, Steven, you're a Trevor Story stan. I think he's going to have a good year, not an elite year. It's going to be a good year from him.
Yeah.
I do like the big kind of mountain man beard he's got growing on right now. And you bring up a good point, Sarah. What is George Springer going to be? What is the loss of Bo Bichette going to yield for this Blue Jays team? But Dylan Cease, people are down on that. And again, is that contract a bit of an overpay? Yes. But you're getting more than what you think out of Dylan Cease. He's durable. He's reliable. He gives you solid starts every 5th day. And Trey Savage, that guy is a Cy Young contender. So we'll see how that with Kevin Gausman is going to be. So I think the Blue Jays are going to win again. And I think the Blue Jays could chase 100 wins this season. I'm jumping on the bandwagon for them. And I think they could make a run back at the World Series. But whether they do or not, we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, for sure. I think everybody would have like the Blue Jays as their World Series pick for this year. I think for a lot of people in the American League. Again, this was another tough one. I'm like, it's going to be either Baltimore or Tampa Bay for me. For 5th place, I'm actually going to go with Baltimore here. I know they finished in 5th this past year. I love the addition of P. Alonso. That's going to definitely add some power to that lineup and experience as well. Again, with a bunch of young guys there, obviously Holiday, like you said, Tom, and you still have Gunnar Henderson still around there, arguably one of the greatest infielders right now in the game. Of course, I think we all can agree that last year they really struggled with the pitching. That's why they went heavily with pitching. They got Chris Bassett, Ryan Helsley, Shane Baz. Go check out his picture wearing an Orioles hat. Just look it up. It's funny. Taylor Ward coming from the Angels. That was a big acquisition. I like that. Zach Eflin. He's been around the block a while, right? And then Blaze Alexander coming over from Arizona. I think he was a prospect for them. So they made some nice acquisitions. It's just that, I don't know. Last year, you look at the record, not very good. They kind of just fell apart at the end of the season. I think they struggled with injuries quite a bit. That's going to be the key for them. Obviously, like a lot of baseball teams, can they stay healthy? Can they have bounce back years? Can they have good years from some of these younger guys? And can Alonso do well in his first year? I think this is going to be a very, very tight division. Again, I think it's going to be very competitive. I don't see any 100 loss teams here in the AL East. So, I'm going to go with the Orioles in 5th, and a lot of Orioles fans won't be happy with that. But, I'm going to go with that. And then I'm going to have the Rays finishing in 4th here. I think with them being back in Tropicana Park and just being back in a regular stadium that, we'll have a little bit more fans this time, and just feeling the nostalgia of being back in there is going to be special for a lot of Rays fans and a lot of the players. But also, they made some good additions, in my opinion. Nick Martinez, Gavin Lux, who is kind of a journeyman at this point, spent, I think, some time with the Reds. They got Ben Williamson, Cedric Mullins. I think that's an underrated move. And then they got Jake Fraley and Jacob Melton. So it's just the Rays, they're going to find a way to do it. I don't know why. They do this every year. We talked about it, last year on the predictions podcast, but they find a way to do it. And they did it this past year and a higher. I think last year I think all of us, Tom, I think Adam, you, myself, we all picked the Rays to finish 5th, and they surprised us. They finished 4th. So I'm going to pick the Rays to go 4th again here. I like them there. I think they'll be close to a wild card contending team. Coming in 3rd place, I'm going to go with the Boston Red Sox. And yes, I am a Trevor Story stan. I think he's going to have a great year. But with the Red Sox, the reason why, some people have them really high. The reason why I have them at 3rd is just like a lot of the players are like bench type guys, except maybe Sonny Gray. He's going to be in that rotation. Wilson Contreras, he'll be a starter for sure. And of course, I really like Ranger Suarez. That was probably arguably their biggest move here. The rotation is, again, really, really solid. I like that. But, the lineup you do have to worry about, is Story going to have another one of those good years, or is he going to regress a little bit? Is Wilson Contreras going to stay healthy? Is he going to perform? Roman Anthony, obviously he's a part of the WBC, right? Is he going to have a good year this year? So a lot of question marks here. Still a good Red Sox team. We saw how good they were last year. They were 85 plus win team, I think. So, yeah, I have them finishing in third. As a matter of fact, I actually have them as one of my wildcard teams in the American League. So Red Sox at 3, and then very quickly here, Yankees, I have them at 2. Again, brought back the old gang together. They got Ryan Yarborough. I think, was he with them last year already, or is he brand new to them? I feel like he might have been there
I
last
would
year.
have to look that up.
He might have been there last year. But Angel Chavilli, or Angel Chavilli, former Rocky, got traded over there. And so they have a good bullpen, a good rotation. Again, questionable with health, with their rotation, with Garrett Cole. He should be coming back this year, so that should give them a boost. Of course, I think last year a lot of Yankees fans were complaining with their offense. But I still think that the Yankees are going to be a World Series contending team this year. It's just I have them finishing in second, and of course I have the Blue Jays finishing first. Love the addition of Dylan Cease, Okamoto. That's an awesome signing right there in their infield. And then Jesus Sanchez, former Marlin. I love that signing as well. So those are my AL East predictions. So let's jump to the AL West, shall we? So Sarah, let's start off with the AL West.
All right. This one, I don't think I have as much of a question about. Angels last place. I don't see anything getting much better there for a while. A's, of course, with all the turmoil they've got going on, it's just hard, even with a couple of promising guys that they've got, especially like Nick Kurtz. I still just don't see a whole lot happening there. I'm putting them in fourth. Really, I feel like the Rangers are probably still sitting in third. I feel like, honestly, I feel like Seattle lost a little bit with Suarez leaving. They haven't lost much though, so it is a little bit tight there. I think the Astros come back and get the division again.
Ooh.
So I'd say Seattle in second, Houston in first.
Okay. Tom, is yours similar, or do you have a little bit different in that division? What do you have?
I'm a little different.
Ooh.
So, well, first of all, I just want to make one correction. When I talk about this, the Red Sox, it's actually Ranger Suarez who they signed from the Phillies. So Crochet, Gray, Suarez. That's going to be a good top. That's going to be a very good top 3 for them in their rotation. I still have them finishing second, so I just wanted to clarify that. My one little who was the free agent signing. But over to the AL West, I think it's no surprise. Angels are awful. They are by arguably the worst owner in baseball in Artie Moreno.
Yeah.
The guy he is such an octogenarian to the point where he is basically dabbing his fingers into every little thing among the organization. So if you're his GM, you basically are his puppet to an extent. So, and the guy is trying to sell the team, but he's not getting the dollar amount that he wants. So sorry, Angel fans, you have to deal with the guy for God knows how much longer. But anyway, now that they've moved on officially from Anthony Rendon, doesn't make much of a difference. They're still going to finish last in American League West. The Rangers, they were just kind of quietly moving along here. I'm interested to see what DeGrom does this year. That's the one big storyline for me in watching the Rangers this year. Maybe they could make a play for third, but I see them finishing fourth. I'm also looking to see, does Nathan Eovaldi continue to age like fine wine? So we'll see. That's another pitcher I'm going to keep watching on them. This second and third, I was thinking of making a surprise pick here, but I'm going to go with the the Athletics finishing in third. It's going to be comedy for me to continue to watch how that turmoilous situation with Vegas is going to continue to turn for them. They have an exciting young team. They locked down 2 of their young stars. So we'll see how things progress for them this year. I have them finishing third in the American League West. Even though the Astros did lose Framber Valdez, I think they're going to be still formidable when it comes to starting pitching and their bullpen. Adding Carlos Correa, a veteran, back to them is not going to provide a big boost, but it provides a boost nonetheless. He is going to play third base, and Jeremy Pena is going to continue to hold down short. So we'll see how they go. I saw them finishing second, and I think even though you lose Suarez, I think the Mariners are still top dog in that division. We're not going to see what we saw exactly out of Cal Raleigh, that what we did last year. He's still going to be an elite catcher. But I have the Mariners once again finish winning that division.
Yeah, I was debating with this one, but again, I'm going to agree with you guys here. Like, I feel so bad for Angels fans here. Just have to deal with that and what the ownership said a few weeks ago, how their fans don't really care about winning and just all that crap. So, I mean, I like some of the additions. Like, at least they're trying here. They got Yohan Moncada. They got Alex Manoah here, kind of a project for them, I guess, over there. And I just feel like every single year they try to sign pitchers, try to fix them, and it never works. And I'm afraid for a guy like Grayson Rodriguez, who has had a lot of talent and just hasn't been able to stay healthy or figured it out. I do like the signing of Josh Lowe here. Bond Grissom, I think he was there last year already, but they brought him back.
Yeah.
From longtime Rocky. Well, not a long time. It was a long time ago, but Drew Pomeranz, he's there. Brent Suter, one of my favorite Rockies of all time. He's there that year. And then Adam Frazier, he's going there to the City of Angels there in Anaheim. So I like some of the names that they added. At least they're trying, but yeah, it's just like almost like whatever they touch turns to copper rather than gold, as they would put it out there in the baseball world. Because a lot of people said that about the Rockies, how, whenever the Rockies signed somebody, they would turn from gold to copper. So I'm going to use that phrase there for the Angels. But hey, sorry, Angels fans. At least you guys are trying, but I don't really see anything much changing there. Going in fourth place, I'm going to go with the A's here. They didn't do much. I listen. I love that they extended their young players as they should. They deserve that, and they're really good. It's a really good bargain for some of those prospects. If you look at some of the money, which we talked about on a different podcast, but they brought in Jeff McNeil from the Mets, Mark Leiter Jr., and Scott Barlow. So they only made a few moves here this offseason. It wasn't much, but the A's, they were kind of fun to watch last year. So but at the same time, I really don't see any much changing there. Again, one of the worst owners, if not the worst, next to Artie Moreno in all of baseball. It's going to be, like Tom said, it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. So I'm going to go A's here at 4. Who's going to go at number 3? Do I go Rangers or Astros? I'm going to go with Rangers here. I think the Rangers will be fun this year. Listen, they got that trade for Mackenzie Gore. They got Brandon Nimmo, let's not forget, from the Mets. They got, they still have Jordan Montgomery there, I think. Tyler Alexander, former Rocky, Austin Gomber, he's now a Ranger. So they have some fun names. It's going to be a fun year, I think, for the Rangers. I don't think they'll be a playoff team, but they're going to be a fun team to watch. Again, they lost Marcus Semien to the Mets, so that's something to watch there. But I still think the Rangers might be a little bit of a fun team this year. I don't think they're rebuilding necessarily. They're just retooling, but I don't know. Maybe this is more of a relaxed, see what happens here for the Rangers. And then coming at number 2, I'm going to go with the Astros here. I'm not a big fan of the rotation. I like Hunter Brown in that rotation spot. I think he's their number 1 guy, if I'm not mistaken. But I do like Amai coming in from the international part of the world. And then really not a lot of big names that they have. Nick Allen, he's coming over to Houston. He's fast, and I think wasn't he with the Braves, Sarah? Wasn't he with the Braves last year?
Yeah. He's a speedy guy. He's got really good defense. He has no bat.
Yeah. So I don't know. For me, I just feel like their offense is also kind of shaky. I mean, again, Yordan Alvarez, he's still there. You have Carlos Correa coming back for another year, of course, after coming over from Minnesota. Jeremy Pena is still there. Is Chas McCormick still kicking the tires in Houston? I think he's still there.
Ooh.
Chas McCormick, what a MLB The Show legend. But yeah, the Astros, again, they didn't really do much, but they still had a really good team last year. They're going to flirt there with playoffs, and I think that I might even have them in the wild card as my other wild card team here. So Astros, I have them finishing second, and then no surprise here. The Mariners are going to be another fun team to watch. I don't think I have them winning 100 games this year, but they brought back Josh Naylor. They traded for Brendan Donovan. They got Andrew Kisner. And then Mitch Garver, he's there. So I like some of the additions there for the Mariners. Obviously, arguably one of the best players in baseball, Cal Raleigh there. So, no big surprise in Seattle. So I'm going to go with the Mariners winning that division. So as we wrap up the American League side of things, any thoughts, Tom or Sarah, or, I might have a couple questions here later on, but what do we think? What do we think about the American League? Do you have any wildcard teams or any teams to keep an eye on?
First of all, one thing I forgot to mention on the Rangers, Rockies legend Cal Quantrill is a
Yes, he's
Ranger
on the
now
Rangers.
too.
That's right. Yeah.
I'm big fan of Cal. Even though he has not been all that great, but still big fan. My wild card teams, really, I think you're looking at, with me picking the Astros to take it. I definitely think Seattle is making the postseason. They're a wild card pick for sure. I also see the Yankees probably being a wild card pick as well. That my third, I'm not real sure on that one yet.
Yeah.
Well, what else? Well, forget. I don't know why I drew a brain fart on this one, Stephen, but I agree. I'm going to go. Yeah, John Fisher's the worst owner in Major League Baseball. Artie Moreno gives him a run for his money at the second worst. So my mistake, everybody. No, John Fisher is the worst owner in Major League Baseball. That guy is a nepo billionaire who clearly does not know how to properly manage his executive staff. But anyway, to go to your point, Sarah, my third team for the wild card, I had tough time picking. This may draw some ire for who I'm picking. I'm not picking a wild card team from the AL West. I don't think Astros, Athletics, I don't think they're going to have good years, but I don't think they're going to be good enough to get in for that third spot. I got two coming from the East. I am picking the Red Sox, and I just think Judge is going to be Judge, and I think he's going to have a better supporting cast this year. Maybe Bellinger has an even better year. Maybe Stanton has a fully healthy year. Who knows? Because I know he wants 500 home runs, and he's getting there, and I know he wants it so bad because that guarantees his ticket to Cooperstown. And this may draw some controversy. I'm picking the Royals as the third wild card team. Again, I love watching Bobby Witt Jr. Again, it shouldn't surprise anybody. Those two crazy plays he made deep in the hole to his right shouldn't surprise anybody. But I think the Royals are going to surprise some people this year. Maybe they'll I don't think they're going to catapult the Tigers in the standings to win the division, but I think they could be a surprise team this year, in my opinion. So that's my three wildcard teams: Red Sox, Yankees, Royals.
Yeah. I think I already mentioned mine. I think it was, what was it? Astros were one of them. I think Red Sox were the other one. And then I might have had it was Yankees and Red Sox, and then Astros. I think those were my wildcard teams. So let me write that down. But yeah, again, guys, in the next few days, stay tuned to our Instagram. We'll be posting our predictions. So we want to hear your thoughts on those once we get those out. Or if you have any thoughts right now, let us know in the comments below here on X or YouTube. So let's jump on over to the National League. And we got Wild here in the comments. We got Cal Quantrill, Team Canada legend. That's right.
That was a great game from him.
Right.
So he's on the Cal Quantrill train with Sarah.
Well, Canada, they're having a good WBC, and they're going to be playing Team USA tomorrow. That's going to be fun to watch.
Interesting to see who Canada puts on the hill.
Do I work tomorrow? Yeah, I think I do work tomorrow. Man. But anyways, I'm going to have to take a break or something during the game or watch it. And hey, you know what? I just thought of this. So, thank goodness, what's his name? That was the Red Sox. Reese McGuire is not on Team USA, because if it was Cal Quantrill versus Reese McGuire, that would be must-watch TV. For those who don't know what I'm talking about, yeah, maybe you shouldn't.
I would be so locked in on that.
Better than the Ohtani and Trout WBC from 2023. 100% must-watch TV. But yeah, so let's jump into the National League. So, Sarah, you're going to start us off with the Central Division. So who do you have finishing last place in the Central Division for the National League?
All right. This one, last place is kind of a toss-up, but really I think it's the Cardinals.
Yes, let's go.
I think it's the Cardinals, which, when you see that Pittsburgh is in that division as well, I'm sure some people are like, what did she just say? I think Pittsburgh takes fourth. Cincinnati, I don't feel like Cincinnati's making it back to the postseason this time. I'm putting them in third. Now, Milwaukee, I still feel like they have solidly got that division locked into place. So I'm going Chicago with 2, Milwaukee taking the first.
Ooh, the Brewers.
Okay, so we pass over to me. So one of my old high school teachers is a diehard Cardinals fan. I hope he is not going to give me ire for this if he hears my voice. Guy was a big Cardinal fan, in a school full of Cub fans. But anyway, the Cardinals, Chaim Bloom, he clearly did what ownership wanted him to do, which is shed payroll. They have completely gone into reset mode or rebuild mode, depending on how you want to view this, because they haven't they still have some talented young players in that team, but again, it's not going to be enough to keep them out of the basement of the National League Central. So I got the Cardinals finishing fourth. Pittsburgh, they had I think the Ryan O'Hearn deal is going to be a very underrated signing. I think they're going to get great value out of the contract that they gave him. Mm-hmm. I'm not big on Marcell Ozuna. I think that's just going to be, he's just trying to, no offense there, he's just trying to hang around. I think that's just,
it's okay.
That's just, he's just trying to hang around as long as he can in the big leagues. And this could be his, I mean, who knows? Maybe he proves me wrong. I don't think he's going to last the full year. I think he's going to get DFA'd sometime in the second after post All-Star break to make room for another young bat. I think Reynolds is going to have a good year too as well. O'Neal Cruz, the guy's so dynamic, but it just, I don't think I think he's got another gear he can shift into to where he becomes a true elite star. But I'm sorry, he's a great athlete, but I just don't know why you put him in center field. He's a true shortstop. But again, I'm not the guy working. I'm not Ben Sherrington. I'm not in the player development.
His arm is incredible.
So I don't make those decisions. So we'll see. But anyway, Paul Skeens, hopefully they can make some kind of a division championship run with him in the years they have left with him, or who knows, maybe they sign him. Who knows? Again, so I got the Pirates finishing fourth in the division. The Reds, I'm interested to see how their starting staff does this year, but I got them finishing third. Ellie De La Cruz, maybe we can get a monster year. Maybe he does a 30-30, or maybe he pushes a 40-40 year. He has the ability to do so. I saw somebody write down Ellie De La overrated. Someone came up with that nickname for him. I think he's a dynamic star. Can he narrow the strikeouts down? Probably not. But again, he's a dynamic player. So I got the Reds finishing third. Again, I will give credit where credit is due. The Cubs did have a very good offseason. I want to see how Cabrera does for them in that rotation. Can he pitch 30-plus starts this year for them? If he does, they got a chance. Pete Crow, again, the guy has all the talent in the world to be a superstar. Can he get on base more? That's going to be a key, in my opinion. Can he draw more walks? But, again, Bush, Bregman, that's going to be a good veteran year addition for only 2 years. I'm sorry, Cubs fans. The last 3 years of that deal are not going to be very good. But the Cubs, I do have them finishing second. But they are going to challenge Milwaukee. I think Milwaukee does edge them out to win the division for the third year in a row. But the Cubs are not going to go away quietly. It could come down all the way to game 162, I think.
Yeah, I think for me in the Central, it's going to be very close too between those two teams, but coming in fifth place, I mean, no big surprise here. I'm going to go with St. Louis. I picked them to go fifth last year, and I think they finished fifth, or was it the Pirates last year? But I had the Cardinals finishing fifth. I mean, they obviously they're rebuilding right now. It's official. The rebuild is on in St. Louis. So, if I look at their additions here, again, I mentioned, especially on my side of things, I've mentioned a lot of additions. I haven't really mentioned a lot of subtractions here, but St. Louis, not a lot of names here that they've acquired. I think Dustin May might have been like the biggest one for them. And then Ryan Stanek, longtime reliever. But other than that, they didn't really do much. Of course, they lost Nolan Arenado to Arizona. Again, it's a rebuild year. You're looking at probably potentially 100-loss season for them in St. Louis. I know a lot of the fan base is very upset with the ownership, and actually, what's kind of interesting, they're not even happy at Shane Bloom. And here, he's not even been a full-time, or I should say, fully into a full year. The season haven't even started, and they're already mad at him. So it's just I don't know if that situation is going to do well. We'll see. But he has a vision. We'll see what happens there in St. Louis. Who do I have in fourth? Oh man, this is I know, again, Reds focus on Instagram. Love you, man. But I'm going to have to pick the Reds at 4th here. I just think last year was fun for you guys. But I just feel like this year, again, you brought in Eugenio Suarez, another swan song in Cincinnati after having a great postseason with the Mariners last year. Like that signing. It's cool. It's a 1-year deal. You brought back Emilio Pagan, Pierce Johnson, former Brave and Rocky. He's there. I like that signing there. Dane Myers, outfielder, I think from the Marlins, and then Nathaniel Lowe, he's there. I think he came on a minor league deal. And then one of their last guys that they signed to a minor league deal is none other than Michael Toglia. I don't know his middle name. Do you know his middle name, Sarah? I don't know.
Oh, I do. Oh man,
we'll have to look that up.
I can't think of it right now.
But Michael Toglia, again, we'll get his middle name here. He is. I'm not sure how he's doing this spring, but it'll be cool if he can get a roster spot.
He has already been assigned to minor league camp. Don't worry, I've been watching that very, very closely. He got assigned to Michael Anthony Toglia. I was like, it's very Italian.
That is a good,
Why
strong.
is he not playing for Team Italy?
Right? Yeah, they could use him.
Yeah, he got assigned to minor league camp. I want to say a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, somewhere in there.
That's early.
Yeah,
So it must not be that he's doing too well. Oh, so it must not be he's doing too well. But you know what? We're going to support him. Of course, Sarah, she's going to support him. We'll all support him over here at Rockies. Now we love Michael Toglia. But yeah, Cincinnati again. It's just I really don't know. And obviously I'm looking forward to the NL Central battles this year between the Reds, Pirates, Cardinals, and don't get me wrong, the Cardinals, they're going to be competitive. Don't get me wrong. Like last year, I had the Cardinals being horrible. The Cardinals weren't that bad, but again, you kind of saw this coming. But yeah, I'm going to put the Reds in 4. 3, I'm going to go with the Pittsburgh Pirates here. I like their offseason. They did a good job. At least they finally spent money. Bob Nutting, what is that his name? I think that I'm kind of getting that correctly. He finally opened his wallet. And yeah, I mean, again, I like Tom said, Ryan O'Hearn, I think that's an underrated signing. He has some power. Brandon Lowe coming over from Tampa Bay. And then Jose Urquidy, Gregory Soto. So they brought in some really good names. So I'm happy for Pirates fans that, hey, they have something to look for this year, that, hey, they might compete for a wild card. So I'm going to go Pirates at 3. Number 2, I don't know why, Tom. And I think I did this last year, Tom. If you remember, I'm going to put the Brewers at 2, and I'm going to put the Cubs at 1. I did this last year, and I regretted it because the Brewers were very, very good, obviously, last year. And they had the number 1 record in baseball. Was it in baseball or the National League? With the National League, right?
I believe just the National League.
It's just the National League. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm going to, the Brewers, I don't know. I just feel like last year I was so upset because in the playoffs, I'm like, hey, this is your time to shine, Brewers. Take down the Dodgers. And they've just folded. They still have Woodruff. They have Mezerowski, obviously young talent there. I'm excited for him. They brought in Kyle Harrison from the Giants, good left-handed pitcher, has some talent there. Jet Williams, I think he's a great young player for them. Luis Rengifo, and then Akil Baddoo, Tigers legend, and then Gary Sanchez for another round in Milwaukee. So I like some of these signings here, but it's just like I feel like the Cubs are a better team, and just my personal opinion. Again, the contract numbers for some of the Cubs players, big questionable. That's putting it kindly. But I just feel like last year with the Cubs winning the division, it was a wild card series or the division, whatever it was, against the Padres. That was like, hey, we're here, we've arrived. If we lose the next round, we'll come back stronger next year. I think that's what the Cubs will do this year. So those are my National League Central predictions. So, yeah, let's move on to see here. It's going to be the National League East, and this is going to be a fun one to talk about. So, Sarah, why don't you start us off with the National League East?
All right. I am undoubtedly going to make some people angry on this one. Now, first of all, down at the bottom, Nationals. Getting rid of Mackenzie Gore was a huge huge. I mean, he deserves better, so I'm happy for him. But that was the only thing the Nationals really had working for him. I mean, look at what Michael Toglia did to them last year. Like the Rockies went into Washington and just
beat the crap out of them,
rolled
except
over
the
these
final
guys.
game. But yeah,
You know, of course, James Woods, awesome, exciting player to watch. But other than that, I don't think the Nationals have anything at all going for them. Very closely to them, the Marlins, definitely your fourth place team. Again, just not a team that I see having a lot going on. Now, the top three in that division gets really dicey. So New York, I really think the Mets dropped down to third in this one. They let too much go. You got Marcus Semien. I just don't think they did enough, and they are such a what is the word that I
hit and
want
miss.
for them? They're so hit and miss, but they implode on themselves every single season. I feel like they're probably going to start hot, and everybody's going to be like, this is it, and then they're going to collapse again like they always do. So I'm putting them solidly in third. Now, Atlanta has already got injury issues with their rotation, and they have done absolutely nothing to fix it. As far as their offense goes, I think you're going to see a huge turnaround there. Austin Riley is healthy. Ronnie is healthy. Everybody's healthy. Who knows how long that will last? Outside of Ha-Sung Kim and that hand injury, it's so hard. I want to put the Braves at first, but I don't know if I can with what is going on with that rotation. Of course, you've got Spencer Strider. Is he going to continue to return to what he was? Are we seeing a completely different guy? I mean, the potential is there. Is the health there? You've got Chris Sale, obviously. I feel good about that. Now, on the other side of things, the Phillies off-season drama has been enough to make me go, are they still going to be gelling like they have? Is this going to be a team that can hold it together? So I'm getting absolutely flamed by either fan base no matter what I do. But I think with Atlanta's rotation problems, I see them taking second in the division and the Phillies taking the division. That hurts my heart to say it. Go ahead and get mad at me, everybody. I just think that's what's going to happen.
Ooh. Here come the
Don't worry,
comments.
Braves fans don't like. Braves fans don't like me anyway, so I'm okay with it. I'm fine with that at this point. I've accepted my role as the bad guy.
You might not be alone, Sarah, but I want to. Before I get to mine, I want Tom to share his AL East, or I should say NL East.
Well, mine are a little different than just slightly different from Sarah's. I have the Marlins finishing last. I don't
really.
I mean, the thing is, the one thing. You lose Cabrera. I don't know what Alcantara is at this point. So that's going to be a big. I'm looking to see what is he going to be. Is he going to perform well enough to where they can get some value for him in their trade? So yeah, we'll see how that goes. But the one thing I'm looking for, guy I'm looking forward to watch is Owen Casey, who's the marquee prospect they got back in the Cabrera trade. He's very talented. He's going to get a shot, especially with Stowers now having a good, nice season last year. So I'll see how those two do together in the lineup. But Marlins, they're going to lose 100 games. I don't see them not losing 100 games this year. I'm sorry, people in South Florida. You do pay no state income tax, but you got to enjoy a terrible team in the Miami Marlins. So I'm sorry about that. Even though the ballpark is nice looking, but still sorry. The Nationals, Mackenzie Gore, that's arguably your best arm. CJ Abrams, I don't know what you got in that guy anymore. So again, the Nationals also could be pushing to be a 100-loss team. This could be a very bottom-heavy division because I think those two are going to be 4th and 5th. I think the Nationals are going to be 4th. And the Mets, they did add Luis Robert, who when you bat him in front of Juan Soto, I think he can have a huge comeback season. given the fact that, Soto's going to protect him, that's going to, I think the sky's the limit for Luis Robert Jr. Marcus Simeon for Brendan Nimmo. That's going to be interesting to see how that works out. You lose Pete Alonso. Yes, you add Freddie Peralta and Devin Williams and Luke Weaver. That's not going to be enough. I don't see enough solid arms to carry them through a full season and into the postseason. I don't see it. I think I commented the same thing on our show predictions episode last year. Don't see enough arms to carry them against the two teams at the top. I agree with you, Sarah. The Braves are interesting because Drake Baldwin did step up with Sean Murphy continuing to have injury problems. The young core of Olsen, Acuna, they're not young anymore. Acuna, Albies, and Olsen are starting to age. They're still going to be productive. Also, I can't forget Austin Riley. They're not old by any stretch, but they're starting to get up there. They're going to be a productive core, but how productive, I don't know. I think Chris Sale still is going to be able to carry this rotation as the ace. However, Spencer Strider, I don't know. They did add Robert Suarez with Raisel Iglesias, so that could be that's still going to be a formidable back end. But again, what is going to be the true bridge from starter to closer to secure wins? But I think the Braves, again, Walt Weiss, I think he's the right man for the job. So we'll see how he does as the new manager in the dugout. But I still have the Braves finishing second. I know there's issues with the Phillies. They lost Robert Suarez, Zach Wheeler with that blood clot problem. What kind of factor is he going to be this year, if any at all? I wish the guy all the best in the world because that's not an easy thing to come back from. But Christopher Sanchez, they added Jesus Luzardo. Austin Nola is still a nice pitcher along with Taijuan Walker. Andrew Painter, who is a top young arm, what kind of production is he going to give this year? So, and of course, don't forget about Duran. He's got he was that big acquisition at the deadline. He's got that big light show from when he comes in as the closer at Citizens Bank Park. But yeah, the big question is, what are you going to get out of this core? Bryce Harper, the beer league softball player, and Kyle Schwarber. I'm drawing a blank. Hold on. Hang on. JT Realmuto, yeah, sorry. And of course, Bryson Stott and Alec Boehm. We'll see. I still have them winning the division. I think this division is still bottom heavy enough to the point where I think the Phillies can make one last hurrah. I think for this core, this is their last hurrah. So we'll see. I have them winning the division still.
What if they do better without Nick Castellanos?
They'll undoubtedly do better without him. I'm sorry. He's not a good player anymore. They made the right decision just to cut bait and move on.
When we talk about the West, I'll give my opinion on Castellanos.
Yeah. Well, Sarah, I do want to ask one question. How do you like the new look for Austin Riley with the hair flow? Do you like it, or?
I mean, it's a good look for him. I do like it. I do. I didn't recognize him at first. I was like, who is that guy?
A brand new man.
And looks like a completely different person. I like it. He said something about how he, with the injuries and things that he's dealt with the last couple of years, which has really held him back quite a bit. Coming in fresh, feeling good, feeling healthy. He wanted to just go a different route. I like it for him. Now, had Matt Olson walked in looking like that, I'd have a problem with it. But Austin Riley, I think it suits him.
I don't think Matt Olson needs to change anything. I think if anybody needs to change anything, it's definitely
keep doing what you're doing, Matthew.
Yeah, it's definitely Austin Riley that needs to change up some things. So we're pulling for Austin Riley here. Okay. Fifth place, again, no big surprise here. I'm going to agree with Sarah here. It's going to be the Nationals. Like, what are you doing? And then they brought in one of the worst pitchers in the last couple of years combined, Miles Michaelis. That doesn't make any sense. And maybe just for veteran presence in that rotation. But if you look at that rotation, I think a lot of baseball fan pages on Instagram that I follow have the Nationals arguably right next up to the Rockies as the worst rotation in baseball. And that's putting it kindly. Like their lineup, it's other than a couple names, CJ Abrams and, Keeper Ruiz, who are still he was supposed to be a prize package from the Dodgers and he has not panned out. what are we doing here? Dylan Cruz, obviously, but like you're supposed to build around him. Like, what are we doing? And we've mentioned this multiple times. I think they should have kept Gore for at least one more year under the new leadership in the clubhouse and the organization. And of course, they have the youngest manager now in the game. Like, he's only 30 something. So, hey, more power to you. But I just don't see the Nationals having a great year at all. And I'll save my prediction for them related to the Rockies once we get to the West. But Nationals in 5th, coming in 4th place. I had the Marlins, obviously, but I'm going to actually disagree with Tom here a little bit. Actually, I think the Marlins are actually going to be like last year. Let's not forget the Marlins at one point were threatening. They were kind of close to the wild card. And again, Owen Casey, I really like him. They got Pete Fairbanks. He's going to be their closer. Awesome signing. Christopher Morel, Esteury Ruiz, Chris Paddock, John King. So they made some nice moves here that were they were kind of under the radar here. So I actually think the Marlins could be close to a 500 team this year, believe it or not. Now, again, that could go against me, and I might be jinxing the Marlins here, and they're going to lose over 100 games like Tom predicts. But I'm actually going to have fun here. I don't know if I've really said this much on the podcast, but if I wasn't a Rockies fan, the Marlins would actually be up there for me as a favorite team to root for, just because I absolutely loved their uniforms back in the early 2000s when they were the Florida Marlins. And the cap, I still need to find, and I think they have it available now, but like the Florida Marlins teal hat, I'm going to get one of those. But I'm a Marlins banger, just like I am with the Tigers. I'm gonna root for the Marlins this year. I haven't been 4th place though, just because the top 3 teams here in the East. 3, I agree with Sarah. It's going to be the Mets. Listen, great job getting Bo Bichette, but again, some question marks there. Bo Bichette has struggled with injuries as well. Can he find it in New York in a different place? Freddie Peralta, okay, that's a good signing there. Luis Robert, former White Sox, Tom. He's now heading over to the Metropolitans. He'll be patrolling in center field, I think, right? As far as we know, he's going to be their new center fielder. That should be fun to watch. How is he gonna, go back to that MVP type of level performance? I don't think he will, but we'll see. And again, Marcus Semien, he's over there. Devin Williams, he's there in New York. Luke Weaver, who has been with the Yankees. So a lot of guys are going from the Yankees to the Mets. So very interesting there. MJ Melendez is now over there, as well as former Rockies legend Mike Tauchman. He's also with the Mets. So, and then Craig Kimbrell, longtime Braves closer, he'll be in a Mets uniform, which will be weird to see. I'm sure it'll be weird for you to see, Sarah, because for all those years with the Braves, it's just
It'll be weird.
How dare you wear a Mets uniform?
At this stage in his and we lost.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, why can't I think of his name? He was part of the AJ Minter. We lost AJ Minter to the Mets too, and that was a lot more insulting to me than Craig Kimbrell is, because at this stage in Craig Kimbrell's career, I would love to see him run out onto the mound against the Braves in a Mets uniform, because they will absolutely demolish him.
Yeah.
So they can have him. I'm good with that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I agree with it. Yeah.
Maybe one way to mess with his psyche is do the airplane thing, and like
everybody does that.
Because I don't know if you guys have seen this, when he's pitched before, some fans in the scout seats behind home plate will do this to mess with his head when he's doing his setup.
Yep. It's underrated. I love it though.
I love it too, but some
cool.
fans try to mess with him by just
by doing that. Yeah.
But,
we got Fishy here in the comments. He said what they got for Gore, and he's talking about Mackenzie Gore, was pathetic for how good the guy is when he's limiting walks. That's a good point, Fishy. Yeah, it's just feel bad for Nationals fans, man, because it's just like here you thought they thought that they were going to be, hey, we're going to finally get out of this rebuild. We're going to be able to start competing again for a wild card. Now they're back at the bottom, and you have the Marlins, who I think are already getting better. You already have the Mets, the Phillies. It's just like Nationals fans, you might be in a bunker for a while.
Well, with the Nationals, they had some sort of complacency, because Mike Rizzo was, before he got fired, was the second longest tenured GM in baseball behind Brian Cashman. So there was a little bit of complacency from him, I guess you could say. Yep. But you have a very young new general manager and manager, very young both. They're both, I think, under 30.
Yeah.
So,
but
there you go.
Vulcan grip, Uncle Ted. That's the pitch for Coors. Yeah. So, So we have the Mets there. I have the Mets in third, and then in third place. And then I have the Atlanta Braves in second. I'm gonna agree with Sarah here, and I'm gonna be with her in war here against the Braves fans on Twitter. I like their additions. I mean, again, they brought in Robert Suarez, Han-Sang Kim, Mike Yastrzemski. I think that's an underrated move. But again, it just like like that team. I feel like last year was like horrible. Obviously, the second half was great, but last year was horrible. And I feel like they're kind of ticking down. Okay, this is not like their window is starting to close here, and they have to start doing things before should people start leaving free agency and stuff like that, which you don't want to see if you're a Braves fan. But I like the additions here. I think they're gonna have a fun year. I think they're gonna be back in the playoffs. I think I have them as a wild card, as one of the wild card teams here. I like what they did this year in this offseason. So hats off to the Braves. Rooting for you, Braves. So shout out to you guys. And then of course, first place. I'm gonna go with the Phillies here. Some people thought they didn't have a good offseason. I disagree. I think they had a great offseason. They brought the guys that they needed to bring back. Schwarber, Realmuto. They brought in Brad Keller. Not to mention Adolis Garcia, the World Series MVP from 2023. He's in Philadelphia now. That's going to be awesome to watch. And then they have Zach Pop and Dylan Moore, who was another option. It was a sneaky option for the Rockies. So they brought him some ballers here in Philadelphia. So with the guys that they already have, and losing Nick Castellanos, I think the Phillies actually might be better than they were last year. We'll see. Again, we'll see. That's a big question mark, but I still think that this is the Phillies division here. So I'm going to go with the Phillies winning that division. So we have one more division to go, guys. So let's start off with the National League West, our most favorite division. And I'm going to plug my ears here. I don't want to hear what Sarah has to say here. Okay, Sarah, you got it. I'm ready for it. Bring it on.
All right. I don't feel like the Diamondbacks did everything that the Diamondbacks did this offseason. I feel keeps them exactly where they're at.
Okay. First, I thought you were going to mention you had the Diamondbacks.
I think the Diamondbacks are getting last place.
Oh, wow.
Now, here's where it's going to get a little bit wild to people. The Giants have a whole lot of talent. Mm-hmm. I was so excited for Tony Vitello to come in and to see what he was going to do. Tennessee fan, the man has my heart for everything he did there. He put a great coaching staff around him. I know it's spring training, and you're not supposed to panic about spring training, and it's not really, I wouldn't say it's a panic, but it looks like this is going to be an adjustment year. And they lost guys like Yastrzemski, who has, by the way, had an amazing spring in Atlanta. They lost a few key pieces. They did get Luis Ariz. I am putting the Giants at 4th.
Wow.
This is I told you this is going to get wild.
This is cooking.
This is bold. I'm being very bold because I think this first year with Tony is going to be a little bit more of an adjustment than, like I said, the coaching staff he's got around him, great pieces. I did hear Ron Washington say something in an interview the other day about how he starts his day at 4 a.m. and if you are not showing up to your morning workouts, he is disappointed in you. And that made me go, who's doing that? Because that is one man. I have so much respect for Ron Washington for his time in Texas, his years with the Braves. He turned that infield into just, you couldn't get a ball past those guys for a long time. And when he said that, I went, is something going on in San Francisco that we don't know about? What's happening here? It really kind of made me think, but I just feel like this is an adjustment year. There's a lot of talent and they could surprise me there, but I think just based off what I'm seeing, San Francisco is in 4th. Now, no, I am not going to pull an Adam and say the Rockies are going to be runner-up in the division. I am putting them in 3rd. I just like too much of what has been done. I really do. I like too much of what we've done in the off season. I also, watching the way that our players have performed in the WBC, Lorenzen has been super impressive. And I know he looks at spring training as time to work on things, which is why I didn't panic too much at those rough starts he's had. I think seeing him in a game setting, I'm here for it. I like what he's doing. Outside of Senzatella yesterday, I was 2 seconds from tweeting out, "Hey guys, Senza looks pretty good tonight," and then he
He's
gave up that
back.
tank, and
Yeah.
then it was just never mind. Don't worry about it. Um, I like a lot of pieces that have been put in place. I really love not every spring training game has gone the way we would want it to. That's what they're for.
Mhm.
I love what I have seen though. I love the aggression on the base paths. I love the scrappiness that these guys are showing. I think if all the key players are healthy, I firmly am in on TJ Rumfield as our opening day first baseman at this point. I love it. Um, Everybody stays healthy. Key players stay where they need to be at. I think that the Rockies can surprise everybody and push it up to third. Now, at the top two, here's where my opinion on Nick Castellanos comes in. Have you guys seen what he's been doing at first base? It hasn't been bad.
Not too bad.
It hasn't been bad. I've been pleasantly surprised. I kind of went, they're going to do what with him? I really think that he's a good fit in San Diego, but I don't think that he's enough to push them over the Giants by any, or not the Giants, the Dodgers by any stretch of the imagination.
Mhm.
I still think the Dodgers take the division. I think San Diego comes in a solid second place. But I also think that some of these other teams in the division are going to give San Diego some headaches this year. So we'll see.
Wow. By the way, I took off. I took off my glasses because I was so hyped about that. But maybe I'll wait for my predictions. So we'll see what happens.
Mine's going to be different. So
bring us down, Tom. Come on.
What do you think? Am I all of a sudden going to be the bitter Betty or the Debbie Downer here? Is that what I'm being pegged as?
No.
Sorry if I take. I'm trying to take as logical. I always try to take as logical of an approach as possible. So excuse me if I come off as a downer or a living with a glass half empty kind of thing. Mental. Anyway, so sorry, but we had a productive off season with the front office changes. Warren Schaefer taking over as manager. I love it. I'm sorry, it's not enough to pull us out of the basement. I still have the Rockies finishing fourth. However, we are not going to lose 100 games this year. I think we're going to finish below that threshold. So I think that is encouraging. Seeing improvement, not just in the record line, but individual performances will be enough to put us that way. And I think we should be thankful for that. We're not. I just don't see us making that big, giant leap up in the standings, but there is going to be improvement. So we're not going to have the worst record in baseball. Let's look at it that way. And when we see improvement, I think it's going to be a positive thing that we should be excited about. And also it's going to change the perception about us around the league. Oh, the Rockies are actually somewhat looking better. So I think that there's going to be a better vibe, not just vibe, but performance overall. So we're still going to finish fifth, but I still think it's going to be a much better year than in previous years. So the stench of Bill Schmidt and Bud Black and Jeff Bridich is officially gone away. I don't know if there's any lingering odor, but the full stench is gone, I think. So that should be encouraging. The Diamondbacks, they still have some exciting young players. Corbin Carroll is going to be out for a while. Nolan, I wish you the best of luck, my man. I really hope this is a surprise year for you. And somehow maybe there's a miracle Diamondbacks thing that helps you get a World Series run at some point, but it's not going to be this year. I have the Diamondbacks finishing fourth in the division. Now here's the thing. And this is just like the Padres are a team with another team with ownership problems. It's been somewhat resolved. However, AJ Preller, his hands are now handcuffed, previous I can't remember the owner who died. What was his name? Peter Seidler. He is no longer giving him an unlimited budget. So sorry, he's had to shed payroll. I don't think they're formidable enough to even finish in the top two. So I have them finishing third because they didn't replace their pitching. They lost several pitchers, including Dylan Cease. They didn't replace it. So I'm sorry, they're going to finish third for me. The Giants, I'm higher on them than most people are. I think Vitello is going to have a lot of growing pains. He's going to have to understand the particulars of managing a clubhouse, managing big league personalities. So there's going to be a learning curve for him, but I think the Giants are going to finish second. I'm high on Logan Webb, Robbie Ray, Carson Wisenhunt, and Adrian Hauser as their fifth starter. I think they've got a nice lineup. When you got Chapman, think of Chapman, Adames. Devers seems to, I guess, maybe he'll be somewhat productive still, but I do like the addition of Luis Arias. I think that's going to be an area. I mean, the alleys there in right and left center field are going to be he'll have a field day just hitting to the gaps there. He's going to he could hit over 50 doubles this year. So I think the Giants are going to finish second this year. And I'm sorry, needless to say, the Dodgers are going to win the division. That's all I'm going to say. I don't think no more needs to be said yet. They're not going to get knocked off the throne this year. Now, whether they three-peat, that's another question.
I'm shocked. Oh, wow.
You're shocked at me? Oh, come on.
Shocked. I'm shocked. No, I'm kidding.
I know.
Oh, man. I'm going to be, it will be the best day of my life when the Dodgers do not win the division. So.
Remember 2018, we almost did it. We almost did it. We almost had him. We had him. I
was at soccer practice when it was happening. I'm like, guys, can I, not?
Can I leave?
Yeah, can I leave? Okay. Should I put on my glasses? Maybe I should. You know what, guys? I'm gonna have to go for it. I'm gonna have to put the Rockies in fifth. I know. I'm sorry. But however, I do agree with Tom, and I actually do agree with Sarah on most things. I think this year is definitely going to be a much better year for us. It's just that there are still some issues, and I think obviously the new front office has said, hey, this is a work in progress. This is not going to take a year. We're hoping in 2 years or whatever it's going to be. But I really don't think that we'll be able to push up to 4 unless if either Arizona or the Giants or Padres just completely fall apart. They're injured everywhere. But I think the Rockies are going to avoid 100 losses this year. So that's progress. And the prediction I was saying about the Nationals and Rockies here is that my prediction is that the Nationals will actually have a worse record than the Rockies will this year. And I actually think that's very realistic, just based off of where both franchises are right now. The Nationals are kind of restarting a rebuild. The Rockies have kind of already been a rebuild, I know, for several years. But I feel like in terms of the roster and just the way it's built and just the way it kind of grinds it out, I feel like the Rockies have the edge here. And again, like we mentioned earlier, when we went to Washington, again, these are just random games. It's going to be a different team from both sides, but the Rockies whooped the Nationals. So I think the Rockies are going to have a better record than the Nationals. And so, yeah, I'm going to go with the Rockies at 5. I know it pains me to say this, but I'm going to put the Rockies at 5. Last year, I did the same. I was realistic. This year, I was thinking about 4. But I'm going to put them at 5. So 4, who am I going to go for, guys? I'm going to go with the Padres. And I know a lot of Padres fans are going to give me a lot of flack for that, but there's reasons. They brought back Michael King. Okay. But a lot of the guys that they brought in are a lot of maybe what if guys, bench guys. I mean, they brought in Tristan McKenzie from the Guardians. He's been kind of trying to figure that out on the mound. He might be in that rotation. They also brought in, let's not forget, Walker Buehler. He signed a minor league deal, I think, with them. We'll see what he does. He's been struggling a little bit as well ever since he left the Dodgers. He's really struggled. So, no offense to him, but I just don't see him turning that around in San Diego. We'll see. And of course, we can't go without saying Nick Castellanos. I'm curious to see how that clubhouse is going to do with Fernando and Machado, and I think they're actually next to each other, all three of them there. So that's going to be fun to watch. That's already going to create some drama. And then they brought in Ty France, and of course, we love Herman Marquez. So good luck to him in San Diego. He'll be battling for that rotation, as I would assume. We'll see how he does in spring if he wins a job there in that rotation. But San Diego, they're like, again, Tom said, they're kind of in a position to where they're kind of getting their ownership figured out, but they're also kind of like retooling, I guess. This is a retooling year for them. I just don't see the Padres doing well this year. I think this is probably going to be like a 70-ish win team. They're going to have some nice, stretches here during the season, but I just don't see them being a playoff team. I don't see it. So Padres fans, you're going to have to set up for 4th this year. Also, I don't like you guys, just saying, and by the way, guys, Matt Holiday touched home plate. So there's that. coming in third place, I'm going to go with Arizona. This is a 500 team. Now, no offense to Nolan Arenado or Diamondbacks fans, but this is a very much a mid team. Their bullpen, I've said it multiple times, their bullpen is arguably one of the worst in baseball. They brought in Paul Sewald, I know, but still, even D-backs fans are not too happy about that. I'm sure listening to this. I've heard a lot of Diamondbacks fans do not like that signing. They brought back, of course, they needed to bring back Zach Gallen and Merrill Kelly, so good job there. They brought in Michael Soroka, former Brave and the White Sox. So there's that. And then they brought in veteran Carlos Santana, and then they brought in James McCann, a veteran catcher there. So, not huge splashy moves for them. Of course, I already mentioned Arenado. It's just like, this is like an 81 type of team. I don't see them making the playoffs at all. Their bullpen concerns me, even as part of the rotation. Again, you have a nice 1-2 with Gallen and Kelly there, but their pitching terrifies me. It's not that good. Lineup, it could be really, really good. But I feel like we're going to see the same type of team that we did last year. So Arizona in third, and then coming in second place, I have the New York. That's the New York Giants. I said the San Francisco Giants, not the football team. We're not talking about football. Wrong sport, Steven. Yeah, I agree with Tom here. I just think that there are going to be growing pains for Vitello, but I do like where they are at right now. However, they didn't do a whole lot this offseason other than add, of course, Luis Ariz. They brought in Harrison Bader, and then they brought in Tyler Mahle, and then Adrian Hauser from the Brewers, I think, or he was with the Mets last year, I forget. But and Will Brennan from the Guardians. So it's just, they added a few names here, but their biggest name obviously was Luis Ariz. And the Giants, they were like, again, I think they were like a 500 team-ish, right, last year. Will the Giants make the playoffs? I actually don't think so, even though they're going to finish in second. I think the West will actually be very weak this year, in my personal opinion. And of course, can't go without saying the Dodgers. They're at number one for a reason. I don't like to say it, and I'm so excited for the day when we dethrone the Dodgers to win the division. But right now, you have to pick them. So those are my National League West predictions, and that is our National League predictions. So if you guys have any comments, please let us know in the comments below. Or, Tom or Sarah, do you have any thoughts on our predictions overall? Do you have any, what's your wild card teams looking like in the National League?
In the National League, I've given the Braves the first wild card spot. I think the second wild card spot I would give to, the Cubs. Yeah.
Okay.
I would have to go the Cubs there. The third spot, I don't know if the because I put the Padres at second, but I don't know if they'll have a strong enough year, because I do agree with you that I feel like outside of the Dodgers, the West is going to be I put the Rockies in third. Obviously, I don't think the West is going to be a strong division this year.
Yeah.
I don't know that the Padres do enough to take that other wild card spot, but I also really don't think the Mets are going to, so I would probably have to say it would be the Padres. I think that's what I would have to go with there.
I actually have one from each division. I have the Cubs taking the first one. Like I said, the division race in National League Central is going to come down, I think, to game 160, 161, or even 162. And the Cubs, I do think, are going to lose out on that one. And I think they'll get the first wild card spot. With Sarah, the Braves, I think, are also going to get a wild card spot. I have them getting the second spot. And this third spot could come down to two teams, in my opinion. I actually have Vitello leading the Giants to the third wild card spot, but I think the Reds could sneak and steal it from them in the last week or two of the season. So I have Cubs, Braves, Giants as the three wild card teams in the National League, with the Reds as a maybe.
I think, did we do this time last year? I think we might have picked, just for fun, we didn't do like the NLDS or NLCS, but we picked our World Series picks.
No,
we didn't do that, but I think we did World Series picks, right? I think that's what we did.
I'm not sure. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll do a separate, or if we do talk about that, we'll do that in a small little segment later on. Maybe when we do our season preview or something, just kind of give our thoughts, who's going to win the World Series. So we'll do that later. But if there's no other comments that we see here, Again, shout out to all of you guys who participated in the comments today. We got Wild, we got Fishy, we got Uncle Ted. So shout out to you guys. Let us know what you thought about our predictions, and I want to hear your Rockies predictions. And so just let us know. And if you're listening on Apple Tunes, is that a real thing? Apple Podcast and then Spotify. If you listen to us, hey, we appreciate you, and let us know in the comments on those platforms what you thought of our predictions. And again, we'll be posting these on our social media, so stay tuned for that. We just recently passed 6,000 followers on Instagram. Awesome. Next goal is hopefully 10K maybe by the end of this year. That's a large leap, but we'll hopefully get there. But yeah, we'll be posting this probably, no promises, but probably later this week or early next week, like Monday or Tuesday would be the latest. So again, stay tuned, guys. That'll be on our socials. You'll be able to comment. You'll be able to look at that. And especially if you guys don't want to listen to this full podcast, hey, just look at our podcast, or just watch our posts, whatever. But anyways, I think that will honestly do it for us. So on behalf of myself, we got Chris. He's not with us tonight. And then we got Tom and Sarah. Thank you guys so much for listening to this episode of the Rockies Now podcast. We'll be back, I think, either Sunday or next Thursday for our next episode. Stay tuned. We'll be talking about that. We'll be kind of updating you guys when that next episode will be. But until then, stay safe out there. We're getting ready for baseball. It's 2 weeks away from today, from opening day. Rockies, I think it's the day after. I don't know why it switched, because I think there was some issue with the stadium in Miami. They need to get together. But anyways, stay safe, guys. We're getting ready for baseball again. Have a great night. And as always, go Rockies.